Professor Paul Gosford of Public Health England said everybody involved was unhappy that testing had not got to the position that we need to get to. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has responded to criticism of the UK strategy by hailing screening as a solution to unlock the puzzle of coronavirus. But we still are not testing. Only 2,000 or so of the 500,000 public health workers have been screened. People reckon they've had the virus and therefore can communicate a bit more, but no one's tested them to see if they've really had it. See, it's a web of deceit more than anything else. Those who know keeping those who need to know deliberately in the dark. Well, so it appears to me at the moment. Doctors are being told that as the coronavirus pandemic spreads, they will face, quotes, agonizing choices over who gets potentially life-saving treatments. The British Medical Association has issued ethical guidance for those working on the front line. The professional body says there needs to be an urgent public debate about the issue in these unprecedented times. It warns that despite heroic efforts to boost capacity, the NHS may be overwhelmed. And that statement is made just on a day when more and more people are saying, hey, we should all go out and clap the NHS for the work it's doing at 8 o'clock tonight. They're missing the point. The NHS needs more support from the government, which seems very slow to be able to coordinate the words it expresses. Finance concerns us all at the moment. And there is news of an interest-free overdraft plan for bank customers. What the report says is that people struggling financially amid the coronavirus pandemic should not be charged interest on the first £500 of existing overdrafts for 90 days. The Financial Conduct Authority has also suggested that repayments on loans and credit cards should be frozen for up to 3 months for those in trouble. The FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, said that the outbreak has caused an unprecedented financial shock, which of course our wonderful government was not prepared for. Experts suggest that support from banks at present is patchy. Now, here we are. It's come to light that the government has put pressure on some of the bigger banks like Barclays, known to some perhaps as Sharkleys, for thinking of paying dividends out to shareholders instead of servicing the loans the government has told them to do. You see, the public in general bailed out the banks in the austerity crisis of 2008. One doesn't see the banks doing very much to thank us for what we have suffered in trying to keep them going. Very difficult. It's just as Owen Jones said. Would we miss these people if they went? The banks, that is. And when you consider that the British Medical Association is saying publicly that there are going to be some very difficult decisions made as to who will get treatment. It's quite alarming. And there is more. From criticism of the banks, the business secretary, Alok Sharma, has issued a stark warning to banks after concerns that up to 1 million companies could fold because the banks seem to be denying the emergency loans. He says it would be completely unacceptable if any banks were unfairly refusing funds to good businesses in financial difficulty. The government-backed loan scheme aims to ensure companies can access cash as the UK lockdown slows the economy. But many people are now observing that loans have been denied. Although the government is guaranteeing the loans, banks are still looking for personal guarantees from the individual customers. It is very much one law for the rich and one for the poor. And I think our present government is determined to keep it that way. My mind is cast back to my late parents, who, when they became ill, argued with me about the provision of a telephone next to their bed. "It's not for the likes of us," said my father, having a very working-class view of how ordinary people were supposed to live lives. And that was very much a thought of his generation. He was born in 1912, when workers were really kept in their place. And that train of thought continues. People still think that they are not entitled to receive these various benefits. In the case of those who are now at retirement age, they have paid in since they were 16 to the government's National Health Insurance Scheme, which took money for sickness benefit and the provision of a pension. Before a certain date, many of us paid in via National Health Insurance stamps to a graduated pension scheme. I did, only to find that for all I've paid in, it gives me no more than an extra £6 a week. There was also, some of you may remember, a selective employment tax introduced, which was an extra sum on the national insurance stamps for theatres and similar organisations who were felt unnecessary by the government at the time. That was eventually scrapped. But this is still a greatly divided United Kingdom, divided not only by geography, but by a class structure which still exists. And we have to do something about removing certain barriers, a certain sense of entitlement from the over-provided for upper classes, who think that the lower classes, who in fact do most of the work that is done in this country, are expendable. I think things will change ere long, and the expendable will be seen to be those who have lived off the backs of those who work.